Today we're using developed color film as an experimental ND filter. Hey everyone, Sean here with Fotodiox.com, and this is just a little video I wanted to make showing you an experimental ND filter hack I recently tried. This is my Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. This camera came out like 6-7 years ago, so you know it's very outmoded today. But I still love this little guy. I'm still shooting with it in 2020. I love the Super 16 size sensor, and I love the filmic look I'm able to create with it. The new Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is a great camera, and I also love it as well. But something about the sensor tech that they changed kind of creates an image that looks a little more like video and a little less like film. And that's why I kept this camera around, because it still gives me that cool 16mm, 8mm film aesthetic that I just can't get with the newer camera. And on this camera is probably one of the weirdest lenses I own. This is an Olympus 15mm body cap lens for micro 4/3 mount cameras. It is a tiny lens, as you can see. It's hardly taking up any space on the mount. It's about the size of a normal body cap for a camera. And this is a fairly lo-fi lens. It's not super sharp. It's fairly soft. And you know, it's got this tiny little optic in here. And one of the biggest limitations of this lens is it's locked in at f8. That's your only aperture setting. So it's fine for photography because you can just work around that aperture. But for video, it's just too wide open for shooting in bright sunlight. So I love how compact it is, and I would love to use it for video, but because it doesn't have really any sort of thread for an ND filter, I've had to make do with doing experimental ND filters for this lens. Like a couple years ago, I made a video showing how to use sunglasses to filter this lens. And earlier this spring, I tried another hack. I was looking at some 35mm film I had recently got developed at a lab, and I noticed at the end of the roll there was just this blank clear film. I believe this is color 400 film, I think it's Kodak, and it just kind of has this nice transparent red scale filtery look to it. And I thought, what if I cut a strip off this film and I taped it to this lens? What would I get? So I put some tape strips on it, cut out a little square, and I just taped it right on the front of my 15mm lens. And sure enough, it actually cut enough light. It acted as an ND filter to make this lens usable in sunlight. So here's the footage I captured with this experimental 35mm developed color film ND filter. And you can see right away that the red tint of the film added kind of a red scale warm look to the image. This was shot in early spring, so I already had a lot of browns and grays and yellows I was working with. And then adding this filter, it added this extra kind of warm reddish tint to the footage. Another unique attribute of using this film as an ND filter was the weird bloom that I got on sun flares. When I was shooting directly into the sunlight, rather than getting a point of light or a typical flare, it just kind of blew out into this weird circular flare. Not the most usable lens flare, but it does have a very unique look. Overall, I was really happy with this experimental filter. Using developed film as an ND filter does give you a really unique look. It kind of has a 70s lo-fi vibe to it. Okay, that was a quick look at this kind of weird experimental ND filter hack. If you try this hack, comment below with a link to your results. I would love to see them. And also click the link below to check out Fotodiox.com. We are a company that sells photo and video accessories for filmmakers and photographers. We've got lens adapters to put pretty much any lens on any camera. We've got filters for wide angle lenses, and we sell a plethora of constant source LED lights, perfect for lighting a film shoot or a photo shoot. Also, click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more weird experimental videos like this one. I'm Sean with Fotodiox.com, and thanks for watching.